live.
All right, welcome everybody. This is Lance Luke and Martin Pea here. We're presenting a webinar, very interesting topic. If you're a small business owner, entrepreneur, you want to get the word out, we're going to be talking about how to get the word out free, and also if you want to pay, that's fine too. But we're going to be talking about press releases. So hang in with us on Facebook. We're broadcasting Facebook Live. By the way, what is the national holiday today? The national holiday today is National Junk Food Day. So if you normally eat junk food, maybe you want to eat more healthy food today. If you're eating healthy food all the time, today's your day where you can kind of deviate, and that's the excuse, National Junk Food Day. But anyway, so much about food. We're going to be talking about marketing and promotion, and Martin and I have been doing this for a while now. I also network with heavy duty, top heavy hitters on the mainland, kind of doing the same thing. So I'll be sharing some of the stories with you on how it's done, how they do it, and things like that. So why do we do this? We actually broadcast our series, Ask the Expert series, to help small business owners, entrepreneurs build, manage, and market online. And especially with the pandemic, a lot of business owners need more help. So today's topic is, are you in the news? Do press releases. And it could be the topic of, are you in the news? Well, if not, then you may consider doing some press releases. So let's get right to it. And oh, by the way, after this webinar, if you stay on Facebook, we're going to have another Zoom broadcast on Facebook talking about how to get leads for your business. So you may want to stick with us all the way. So let's talk about press releases. Well, what is a press release? Well, normally it's like some kind of announcement, right, in the media. So the actual definition, and there's several. So what is a press release? Well, it could be a short news story about anything. Could be a brief article that outlines the major facts of a news story. And you see this a lot. Press release, an official statement by an official or business that is given to the press for public knowledge. And if you're able to see the slide, if you look at number 3, there's a word that's misspelled. Okay, so this is on purpose, right? And the reason why it's misspelled is, one of the things not to do on a press release is to misspell words or use poor grammar. That's going to be a turnoff. So make sure you have your words spelled correctly. And now it's kind of like election time, voting time. All these politicians running for office are gearing things up because the voting is around the corner. So what is all these politicians doing? They're giving press releases. They're putting out so much information, mailing postcards, having ads in a newspaper, running ads on radio, running commercials on TV, and they're issuing press releases, okay, every one of them. And that's how to get the word out. So if you ever get stuck thinking about, well, how do I do it and all that, kind of put yourself in the shoes of the politician running for office. I want to get elected. What am I going to do? How am I going to get the word out? People need to hear my platform. If the general public does not know who the person is, and a lot of times it's voting by name recognition, and that's why they keep blasting everybody with all their commercials and print media and things like that. The more you see their name, then when you see their name on the ballot, you might say, well, I recognize this name. I don't know who the other guys are, so I'm voting for the person who I recognize, even if you don't even know what their platform is, right? But the better thing for politicians is to get the word out, talk about their platform, issue press releases so that people know that, you know, so and so running for this office, their platform is stopping monster houses. So if you don't like monster houses, well, you're gonna vote for that person, right? Or you know, clean up crime or deal with the homeless situation, things like that, or what are they doing about climate change, and so on and so forth. So those are the definitions of what a press release is. So the elements of how to create a press release, you got to remember, you know, go back to grade school or even high school where they teach you how to read and write, or how to write a story, or how to craft a short story. There's these elements, and it's who, what, why, when, where, how, and these same elements apply to doing a press release. So, you know, who? Well, who are we talking about? Is there a person or some kind of character that is the subject? What things or actions? Where? You know, where are we talking about? What's the location? What's the place? When? You know, time. Why? What's the purpose or reason that you're writing? And then how? By what means, or what way to do things. So a press release can basically be about any topic or any subject, but if you don't have the key elements, then your story is going to get lost. Okay, and the whole purpose of a press release is to tell a story, to tell your story, and get the word out. In the past, the press release was commonly known as PR. PR, you know, public relations is kind of the same thing, but it's really not exactly the same. So remember who, what, why, when, where, how, and that, you know, if you say it fast, it's a tongue twister, but you may not have to include every single thing, every single one of these, but the more you do, the better. And let's move on to the next. So what is the purpose of a press release? Like I mentioned, to get the word out, to notify, to share the information, and also to promote. And small business owners, this is your purpose. Okay, if you want promotion, you want people to know your company or you, what you're all about, what your business is, what service you provide, what kind of products are you selling, right? And then who's your direct target audience? Are you selling to consumers directly, or are you selling to businesses? If you're a business, it's a B2B, you're selling to another business, or you might sell to both. You might sell directly to consumers and to businesses. And a lot of businesses do that. If you have a restaurant, you know, you want customers to come in, eat at your restaurant, but you also want to make these catering to other companies. Maybe you have a connection networking with a wedding planner, and if it's not at a hotel, if the venue's not a hotel, and you're having it at renting a fancy house with a nice yard, you know, the house doesn't provide food, right? So that wedding planner would make a connection with your restaurant, and you provide the catering just for that special event. So you get the word out all different kind of ways: notifying, share, and then also promote. The main thing that you do the press release for is basically to promote, right? To get the word out. So, and it can't be really long and lengthy. And that's why in another webinar, I talked about doing videos, right? So that's another way. So how to create a press release. Okay, so you want to grab the attention with a good headline. If your headline is boring, then it's not catchy. And here's an example. Okay, if you're watching the news and they got these little 10-second commercials, they're usually telling you what the headline is or what the story is, right? If you're reading a newspaper or a magazine, you read the headlines, okay? And basically you decide whether you want to read the article or not. If the headline is catchy, yes, you want to read the article. If it's not, you might go, boring story, I'll look at another article. So you want to first grab the attention of the readers with a good headline. Next thing is get to the point in the first paragraph or second. You don't want to start rambling on, talking about things that really aren't getting to the point. And, you have your point down, at the last paragraph or something like that. So you get to the point as soon as you can and include facts, right? And also use good grammar and punctuation and spell the words correctly. So the reason why you want to include facts is people are used to hearing facts. A lot of times you can write an article, and if it's just you saying something without any backup, people might not tend to want to believe what you're saying, right? But if you back it up with some facts, then that actually supports your message, and it gives credence to you, and it makes you the so-called expert, because you're not just making something up. You're backing it up with facts. Like, for example, if I write a press release about I'm a building expert, building consultant, and I'm writing an article, press release article about safety. I don't just say, oh, this is Lance Luke, the national building expert, and here's my opinion on keeping buildings safe. You do this and do that, or don't do this, do that. Okay, that's fine and good. But if I started off by saying, this is Lance Luke, the national building expert, and did you know that the National Safety Council reported last year that 2.5 million people tripped and fell on stairs in buildings? Those are actual facts that I can back up and prove, right? So when people read the facts, they have more of a tendency to want to read more and go, oh, okay, well, I guess this person knows what they're talking about because they did their own research, right? So that's what you should be doing, if at all possible. Sometimes, depending on the subject of the press release, you may not have the opportunity to include facts on each and every press release, but it's good to do that. Another example would be if you're a politician, and because it's political time, that's why I'm bringing that example up. If you're a politician and your headline is, my platform is to help the homeless, okay, that's kind of boring. But if you say, did you know that there's 6,000 people daily that are homeless, and here's what I'm going to do to help the situation? So that would be a fact, and you can back it up by, yes, that information was based on surveys that were taken by the state health department or some other reference source. Okay, so how to write a good press release. Okay, so let's talk about this some more. You want to include quotes whenever possible. If no one knows who you are, okay, and you make a quote, they might say, wow, I don't know who this person is, so who cares what they say? Okay, but if you're unknown, no one really knows you too much, and you want to be more known, and you include a quote by somebody famous, right? Like the president, or let's say that you have a business and you're selling surfboards, okay, and you quote a famous surfer that said something. It doesn't even have to pertain to the surfboards you're selling, but its impact when they see that, oh, geez, I know this name. This surfer is famous. You know, he won 2 championships, and I read that he surfed uh, a 65-foot wave in Portugal or something like that. So you wanna use other people to help you. So uh, if you're in sports, you know, try to find a quote from a famous person that's a football player, basketball player, or something like that. Whenever possible. Not all the time you can do that. Also, don't forget to include your contact information. I've seen press releases that were really written, really professionally, exciting, and it got to the point. And they had nice bullet points. They covered key elements, but um, at the end, there was no contact information, so nobody can contact them if they want to continue the story or interview them. So you need to provide your name, your email, your phone number. So if media wants to contact you, you know, for an interview, to be on radio or TV, or to continue writing extension of the story, they have the information to get a hold of you, right? So you can't write a nice press release and then after that go into hiding, yeah, or be a ghost. The other key thing is to keep your press release to between 500 to 800 words. You got to keep it short and sweet. You can't be rambling on and submit a 1,200 or 2,000 word article. No one's going to read it. Okay. And if somehow they decide to say, oh, well, this looks pretty good, I think we'll publish it, they're going to edit it down for space. So if you don't have key bullet points, they might edit it out. So especially if your bullet points are at the end of your press release, they might go, well, we only have room for 2 paragraphs for this press release, so just cut the rest of the story. And that was the good part, right? So that's why you want to get to the point as soon as you can. Now, let's say you have your press release done, and then the question is, well, okay, I have my press release and it meets all the elements, and I think it's a good one. I had my friend and some other business associates review it, and they helped me make some corrections, and I think we're good to go. Now what? Who do I send it to? Okay, so here's a list. You send it to your media list. Well, what's a media list? Okay, so you make your own list. Okay, that would include newspapers, magazines, TV stations, radio. People are doing podcasts, blogs, and webinars. So, for instance, whatever subject matter you're talking about, you have to say to yourself, who do I want to get this press release? Who do I want to send this press release to, and get the message out? Okay, so it depends what your story is, and I usually try to do the carpet bombing method, where you're just sending your press release out to everybody. And in the beginning, that really didn't work. It still doesn't work today, especially if you're trying to get a free press release. And I can tell you that unless your story is super popular or urgent, or you have the message that is unique, okay, if you send it to the major networks, it's not going to be published, because they're really scrutinizing everything, and they work with press release agents or press release companies. So let's say you have a nice press release and you send it to Wall Street Journal or USA Today, all the biggies. It's not going to get published. Chances are it's a no-go, right? So you can try and see what happens, right? But can you remember that you're not the only one. There's hundreds and thousands and millions of people that are sending press releases out, and most business owners don't do it. But even if a small percentage, that's still a lot of people, right? So you wanna make your list, okay? And if your press release is only localized to your community or uh, your state, then your media list is short. But if you're going international or even national, then the list is longer. So I would start off with local. So localize first. Your local newspaper, magazine, TV stations, radio. That's already um, a large number to contact. And what you want to do is have their name, phone number, email address, so that when you do the press release and you email it out, you can combine one release and mail it to 20 or 30 different people at the same time, right? And the podcast, blogs, and webinars is kind of a little bit more difficult because most of these are not local, and it's rare that you find some that are only localized, because if someone's doing a podcast, blog, or webinar, they're actually want to broadcast it all over, right? International, national. So for instance, this webinar is broadcast locally, but it's also national and international, because we're broadcasting not only on our Zoom platform, but through Facebook Live, and Facebook is available to the billions of people. Okay, so just keep that in mind. What else do we have? Be aware of the pitfalls. How to get rejected. And remember, when you submit your press release, guess who's reviewing it? Is these editors, and these editors are gatekeepers for their newspaper or business or media. And by the way, all the TV stations, radio stations that I mentioned, national media, they all have online as well as print, right? So your newspaper and magazines, they all have an online version, okay, at the same time, right? So be aware of the pitfalls, how to not to get rejected. Okay, if your story is not newsworthy, okay, it's a thumbs down. If you're writing a press release and it's all about you, the first person, every paragraph is I do this, or I'm available for this, I'm the best at providing this service, I have the best products, it's I. If they see that, they're not going to print it, because it's like, what is this? Self-promotion. Of course, you're doing it for self-promotion, but you don't want to make it that obvious. The other thing is that if your press release has too much hype, too much bells and whistles, and it's not believable, then it's going to get rejected, because they know, I don't want to print this in my magazine or a newspaper, because look, already it's I don't even believe what they're saying. It's too much hype. Or if your headline is too dull, right? Like if you're a CPA and you're writing a press release, your headline is not going to be prepared for tax season, right? You want to make it a lot more exciting. What's more exciting? I saved $20,000 for a client doing his tax return or something like that, right? It's catchy. Also, if the content does not match your headline, if your headline is the latest and greatest surfboards, but then the content talks about large waves and the upcoming national surfing championship, it might not match. Or if you go on a different tangent and start talking about global warming or king tides and all that, there's no connection. So that's a turnoff too. Okay, so you want to make your press release, and then your whole objective is you're actually not writing it. You're writing it about yourself, but you're not writing it for yourself. You're actually writing it for for these editors that are going to publish it. So that's the difference, right? Some more helpful tips today. Now, here's how to get free press releases. There's press release companies and companies that submit press releases to media outlets. And these are the names. You're going to have to do your own research, but PR Log, Newswire Today, I think like it's prlog.com or newswiretoday.com. There's pr.com, online prmedia.com, prnewsblog.com. I think it's .com, but you can do your own search on Google or DuckDuckGo, and you might put in keywords such as free press releases or press releases free, or even press releases. Okay, so there's a difference. There's companies that provide free press releases, and there's companies that provide paid press releases. Most of the companies that offer paid press releases may also offer free ones, but just remember that the free ones are limited to certain media outlets. Like if you signed up for a free press release, they're not going to submit your press release to Wall Street Journal, New York Times, USA Today, and all that, the biggies. Okay, these are for the big players that actually pay to play. And this game is a pay to play game. You can do free press releases, but the bigger bang for the buck is if you actually pay. And you pay these press release companies. That's all they do, is submit press releases on behalf of their customers to major networks. So here's some samples of our own published press releases. So one is the headline: National Building Expert Urges All 50 States to Lock Down Immediately. This came out in 2020, okay, April 2020. So when I first found out about the pandemic, that it was like a real thing and it wasn't like a rumor and all that, which I think was in March. My team immediately decided to do a press release because the coronavirus, the COVID-19, was top of mind, right? That was, if you do a search on Google and put coronavirus, that's the #1 search word at the time. So I decided to take advantage of that situation and write a press release. And it was kind of weird. I had to do a lot of thinking, because like, how is a national building expert related to the coronavirus? But I made it the story where I quoted the CDC, and then I said people who are going into buildings that may be unsafe because there's the spread of the virus, and that's how I related the story. Because otherwise, it's like, why is a building expert talking about coronavirus? That he's not a medical doctor or anything. So I related it, and it got published. And then another one was when the Florida building collapsed. Remember, about a year ago, I took advantage and I decided to write a press release on that, and that was top of mind. So the headline is: National Building Expert Urges 10-year building inspections due to the Florida building collapse, right? That was catchy. And it got published in a lot of places. It got picked up by Asia One, Malaysia Times, and I never heard of Malaysia Times, right? But I found out that they have millions and millions of viewers and readers. So my story, that was basically a national story regarding a United States building, got picked up worldwide by over 750 media outlets, and that wasn't including the outlets that like AP, they're like a press cable and all that. So you never know. Once it gets picked up, it gets spread like wildfire. So I mean, we got good mileage out of that one. But that was not a free. These two that I'm talking to you about, they weren't free ones, but it was worth it because I got a lot of publicity from it. Um, Also, another one, coronavirus notice, the national building expert gives important prevention tips. So here I am um, talking about uh, buildings where people go to buildings, be aware of what you're touching and all that kind of stuff. And then I got another press release about signing up as an executive producer for a movie. And that was last year. The movie didn't come out yet because of the pandemic. It got delayed for a couple of years. But these are samples of my published press releases. Also, we don't always get our press releases published. There was one that I remember we had that Capitol riot, insurrection, and all that. So I wrote a press release with Martin to talk about social media, and the subject was how social media can be good and also be bad. And it got rejected like 3 or 4 times. So I get rejected too, but um, we kept trying to tweak it, and it still kept getting rejected. And I think it was not the content of what we put in. I think at the time where um, Twitter and Facebook shut down Donald Trump's account. I think basically there was this whole scheme of trying to downplay things. And although my press release was using the Capitol riot as a subject, that wasn't necessarily the subject that I was talking about. I was talking about social media. So I was talking to Martin this morning. Hey, I got this idea. Maybe we should try and submit it again and see what happens now that this whole riot thing, died down. But let's see what else I have. Oh, okay. So we have EMM Lucky 7 tips on press releases, and you may ask, well, what is EMM? EMM is Expert Media Matters, and that's the company that Martin and I own. And what we do is we're a social media marketing consulting company. And that's what we do. But basically, we're really promoting lead generation as a topic, as opposed to social media posting or developing websites and that kind of thing. So if you want to know more about lead generation, stay on my Facebook page and we'll talk more about that. But the Lucky 7 tips, here we go. Who, what, why, when, where, how. Okay, those are your key elements to writing a press release. Remember, you want to grab attention with a catchy headline. Okay, don't make it boring. If you're a boring person, do a little better job of making it not boring. If you're like a lively, bubbly person, you may automatically have nice, catchy headlines. But when you write it, ask for reviews. Ask your friends, business associates, or whatever. What do here's 3 headlines. Which one do you think is the best, right? I do contests all the time on Facebook. People like the quizzes and contests and all that, and it gets people involved. It grabs attention. You want people to be part of the conversation, and that's what I try to do. By the way, when you do that on Facebook, you're actually getting more people to look at your posts, right? So when you do post something about your business, then people are more apt to read it because they're on. The next thing is get to the point. Okay, don't start talking, and how you talk to some people and they're talking for like 3 to 5 minutes and they're still not getting to the point. It's like, why, right? So immediately, right out of the box, right out of the gate, you're going to have to get to the point. You want to capture the reader's interest. You don't want to bore them. Next thing, use good grammar, proper punctuation, good spelling. if you're local in Hawaii, don't use pidgin English, right? You want to unless your market is to people that talk like that, right? So, and we got people on Facebook that are tuning in or will watch it later that are not from Hawaii. They're from the mainland or different parts of the world. Also, you want to include your contact information. That's a biggie. Don't forget that. Send to everyone on your media list, even if you think that it it may not work or there's no connection. And then use free public press release sites. And then also you might try paid ones. Okay. Now, let me back up. When I say send to all your media lists, I'll give you the short story. Because I do building inspections and I'm involved in inspecting buildings that are failing or when there's a flood or they have a electrical problem or things like that. So anyway, at one time we had this major storm in Hawaii, major flooding. And so I did this press release about what to do after a flood. And I didn't pick and choose. I sent it to all the TV and radio stations. Okay, just kind of at that time, I used a fax machine and faxed it out. Okay, and you know who called me? A radio station that I had no idea would contact me, and I was even going to cross them off the list and not send them my press release. But what it was my press release said immediate release, and the title was how to prevent or what things to do after a flood or something like that. It was kind of catchy, and it was like one short paragraph. And you know who called? A Japanese radio station. So they called me and said, "Oh, we got your press release. We want to interview you on the radio." I said, "Okay, great." And we'll call you back. And then the next thing I know, like 2 minutes later, I got the call and the guy saying, "Hello, this is Koho Radio. We have Mr. Luxon here from FEMA." And I wasn't from FEMA, but I had written a book that was promoted by FEMA and the Red Cross. So anyway, I kind of went along with it. But of all things, I got PR, I got mileage, and although the majority of people didn't listen to it because they're not listening to a Japanese radio station, I ended up using that as fodder for my next newsletter and saying, "Hey, I got interviewed on a Japanese radio station talking about what to do after your house gets flooded or something like that." So anyway, you never know what could come up. Okay, so I would just do the blanket. It doesn't hurt, adding more names, because when you click the button to send your email out, it's going to 20 people, okay, or 30 or whatever your count is. So that's the tips that I have. Let's see what else we got. The reason why, okay, so we give these Ask Marketing Experts webinars. We give one a month, so tune in. We have our website, askmarketingexperts.now.site. You could go on and watch the ones we did already, the webinars. We capture all our videos. They're up on our website on demand. You do not need a Netflix account, but before you start getting comfortable to watch it, you might get some nice cool beverage and maybe a little popcorn or potato chips or something like that. Okay, and then what else do I have? Well, that's what you missed, but so what's coming up? I have a couple other webinars scheduled talking about different other items, like writing a book, and I kind of forget what the other ones are, but just go to our website and go check it out. And then, you know, we're nice guys. We want to give stuff free. So we have free business marketing books that you can get. If you want to buy it, it's for sale on Amazon, but you don't have to. You can get it free. You go to our website, click the publications page, and then you can download the free ebook. Promote your small business online today to survive. And then the other one is the ultimate small business game changer. Promote your business for $47 a month. Well, we got actually more things on our platform. So $87 a month, you can get leads too. Okay, so that's something good. And then that's the end. Remember, Expert Media Matters. Email is info@expertmediamatters.com. Our phone number is 808-202-2384. And our website, once again, is askmarketingexperts.now.site. So it's Q&A time, and I'll turn it over to Martin and see if he has any questions from anybody that is on Zoom or on Facebook. So I'm going to stop share right now. So Martin, are you
Hey,
around?
Len. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay,
We had
good.
a few questions come in, so let me hit you with them. First one is, can you give us suggestions on how we can start writing a press release?
Okay, so the first thing you want to do is think of what you want to say. Just think of one thing that you want to say to help promote yourself, your business, or your product or your products, or whatever business you have. Okay, so just think of one thing as far as a topic of what you want to say. That's the start. Just like when I advise people on writing books, you just start writing topics or titles of chapters, right? You don't start from chapter 1 and start writing that chapter. Some people can do that. I have a different method. I just start writing chapter titles, and then eventually I kind of put it all together like a jigsaw puzzle. So what you want to do is come up with a couple of bullet points, right? Maybe 2 or 3 or up to 5, as far as what message you have. And then you take that, one of them, and you kind of expand on that. So that's how we do it. And I think that's a good idea. Some people can basically write a whole paragraph and then later on come up with the headline, and you can do that too. So whatever works for you, everybody, writes differently. So just the main thing is just start, even if you have like a short paragraph and then you get stuck, right? Because if you stop and then you go back to it later, then you're viewing it from a different viewpoint, and then you may have some other ideas to continue writing. So I would just say start. Sometimes if you write 3 to 5, then you go back and look there, all of them are crappy. You're going, so then you start another 3 or 5. And the main thing is just do it, just get started.
Very good, Len. Thank you. Next question that came in is, how do I know what social media platforms are best to post my press release?
Okay, well, the simple answer is, what platforms are you using now, right? If you're using Instagram, then that's the platform that you're going to use. So you don't want to use platforms that you're not using or you don't use that much. You want to use the more popular ones. So if your social media platforms are the most used by you, and let's say it's Facebook and LinkedIn, then that's the ones you use. If you don't use Instagram, then you don't want to use Instagram. But I would say post anyway, right? Post on Twitter, Instagram, whatever ones you use. Even if you don't use it that much, I would say still try it, because you never know. Okay, so use the popular ones for you, but then use the other ones that you're not really using that much, and then see what happens. Probably what's going to happen is nothing. You're not going to get too much of a response. But when you do post, don't forget about it. Go back and check, because if people like your post or made comments, you don't want to ignore them.
Yeah, good answer, Lance. Okay, what do we got here next? Okay, here's a quickie one. What do I do if my press release is not accepted for publication?
You can throw it away, or you can try again. You can find out like why didn't it get accepted? What did you miss something? Did you not have some elements? And were you just talking about yourself? Because if you're talking about yourself, they're not going to publish it. So you got to find the reasons why it didn't get accepted, and then go from there. Correct some things, maybe tweak things here and there, and then resubmit it. Okay, and don't give up. Just keep resubmitting it. And then when you realize that either they're going to take it or they're not, if they don't, then you may have to redo the whole thing and come up with a different angle. Okay, so there's information online too that you can get on writing press releases and what to do and all that. So you might, if you get stuck, you might have to do more research online and get information that way. Or you can give us a call or send an email, and we would normally say, well, send us your press release. We'll take a fast look, and then let you know what we feel we can help you with. So what else do we have?
Well, let's see, what is next on our notes here? Here's the next one I found here is in a past webinar, you talked about repurposing a social media post. How can I repurpose a press release?
Okay, it's the same way. So let's say you post something that's not a press release. Okay, that's your post. Now you take your press release that was published, okay, and that becomes your post now. And then you can add in, you could say, oh, take a look at my press release that was published in XYZ magazine or appeared here or whatever. So what you want to do is just don't post your press release without any text. You want to post your press release and then explain what you're talking about, and especially if your press release appeared in a major publication. Like what I did was Asia One picked it up, and so when I shared the press release on social media, I said, Asia One of the largest media outlets in Asia, published my press release about blah blah blah, and you could even use the Asia One logo, right? So the more third-party endorsement, the better. For instance, I was interviewed on major media, and my interviews were broadcast on ABC, NBC, CBS. So I just use those logos, and when I put in a post, I was interviewed, blah blah blah, and it appeared on ABC affiliate network. I mean, that's like a lot of power, because people see those major names, and so they have a tendency to say, oh, if that guy got ABC to publish, well, he must have something good to say. So I name drop a lot. I use those names, to get more PR, to get more attraction. Okay, and hopefully when you get to that point, if you're not there already, you can do the same thing.
Very good, Lance. Thank you for that answer.
Sure.
Get a couple more here. This one says, I am not really a self-promoter type of person and have a hard time tooting my own horn, so to speak. What help can you give me in this area?
Okay, so if you're more on the shy side, quiet side, and not, loud and self-promoting, uh, you can ask for help. Ask other people. Do you have friends or business associates that are more out there, that are more promoting type? Uh, Talk to them and see if they can give you any tips or ideas. Or um, you can read magazines or newspapers or listen to radio or watch TV and see how these reporters do it, right? So when you see that, that could give you good ideas on how to report. Basically, if you really look at things, you take a step back and say, well, what am I doing here? On a press release, you're actually a reporter. You're basically reporting information, although it's about yourself. Um, it's the same thing as if a news reporter came in to report something about your business, right? So if they were interviewing you, what questions would they ask? So a good thing would be, and it relates also back to how do I start? Well, let's say that you're going to be interviewed by somebody on the news, okay, about your business. What questions do you want them to ask you? Okay, or what information do you want to tell the world? Okay, so that's the theme for your press release, right? You don't want extraneous information because that just wastes too much time. Get to the bottom of things. What if I said, hey, look, I'm from KHON TV News. I'm going to interview you about your business. You have products, or what your service, or what kind of business do you have? I'm gonna ask you 3 questions. Okay, what 3 questions do you want me to ask you? And those questions are lead-in to you providing the information, right? So you got to think about, oh, what do I want to tell the general public? And so you craft your question based on you giving that answer. Okay, and you could do that, right? And that's a different way to start things. So think about questions. Or remember the elevator pitch, you have 30 seconds. What do you want to say, right? So treat it the same way. You meet somebody, you only have a certain amount of time to talk to them. You want to get to the point fast. What do you do? Who are you? What do you do? What kind of service do you provide? What kind of products do you sell, right? The service that you provide, how are you providing it? How are you different from the next chiropractor down the street or the other massage therapist, right? So you wanna be different. Okay, so hopefully those are helpful tips. We got any other questions?
Yes, we do. We got one more here that I can see here. Yep, it's I know you use free press release services, but what was the most money your company spent on a single press release? Ooh, personal question.
Well, let's see. Okay, so in general, paid press releases, if you go through a press release company, they would charge you, normally the range is between $250 on up to $1,200. I've seen some companies charge 2,500 to 5,000 and up just for one press release now. But here's the difference. The bigger cost of a press release, the more you pay, the bigger the media outlets. And when I say bigger media outlets, if you pay a company $200, there's no way that they're going to submit it to Wall Street Journal, USA Today, New York Times, and all that, right? It's not that's not what they do. So if you pay 5,000, then maybe, but there's no guarantee, right? So you want to make sure that when you pay, that company gives you a list, okay, ahead of time. And you might ask, okay, for $500, who are you going to send my press release to? And then they need to give you the names of the companies that are going to get the press release and publish it. And of course, they can't really guarantee, because it all depends on time and space, right? But ask for the guarantee, and then the guarantee is like, okay, if it doesn't get published, then maybe they'll submit it again, or whatever, try to work something out. But there's really hard to give a guarantee when you're not paying that much. I mean, a free one, there's no guarantee at all. There's no guarantee that it'll even get published, right? But the more money you pay, the more likely that your release is going to get published in the same outlets that they're telling you they work with. And so in answer to your question, I think the most that I paid was $1,000 for one press release. And remember the press release that I talked about, the Florida building collapse? I think it was about $1,000 that was paid. And if you look at the number of media outlets that I think if we counted it, it would be over 1,000 media outlets. So basically, what it comes down to is $1 per media outlet. But that's not really how you would calculate it. You would calculate the return. How much return did I get? Did I spend $1,000, send out a press release, and nothing ever happened? Well, that's a gamble too, right? That's a business decision. But sometimes you pay the money to get the word out, and the return is you got publicity. The return may not be you got business from it, but as a business owner, you not only want publicity, you want business, you want dollars. So in the end, that press release, when it was promoted, and you do your own promotion too, and it was because of the press release that I promoted on my own using the press release that I actually got business, because people realized that if this major publications are publishing something that this guy said, then this guy must be the expert at concrete repair. So Lance Luke was published in media, national media, international media outlets, and because he was published and featured, he must really be the expert and know what he's doing. So therefore, locally, we should hire him to fix our building, do concrete repair and all that, so it doesn't collapse like the Florida building. So that's the whole idea. You want to spend money to make money. You don't want to spend money and not make any money. So we have any other comments and all that before we sign off?
No, I don't see any more here, Lance. We're good for today.
Okay, let me just check one thing. I don't know. Did you check Facebook?
Yeah, I have it up over here.
Oh, okay. I got 2 comments, but that was from you, so that doesn't count really. So thank you everybody for watching. If you're a small business owner, entrepreneur, or have a side hustle in this gig economy, try to do some press releases and see what happens. Now, we urge you to hang in, and we're going to actually log off, and then we're going to log back in on Facebook again to talk about leads for probably 20 minutes or so. So if you're still around, stay here, keep watching Facebook, and tune in for the next series. So also, Martin, you remember what the next topic is for Ask the Marketing series? I kind of
let's
forgot.
see. Offhand, I don't, but let me find out
Okay.
real quick.
I know it's not about leads.
No, yeah, we do that one every week now. Huh? So it's about, let's see, it's about becoming the celebrity expert in your field, just
Oh,
like
yeah?
Lance Luke.
Wow. Okay, that should be a lively one.
That's going to be a goodie.
Yeah, so if you guys are interested in getting more promotion for yourself, you want to become a celebrity expert or appear to be one, then sign up for our next webinar. I'm gonna give you the rundown. I'm gonna tell you the secrets. I'm gonna give my story and how I did it. And if you just do a couple things or all of them, you might get there too. So thank you very much for tuning in. Hang on Facebook, and we're gonna log back on and talk about leads. So once again, thank you, and see you next time. Aloha.
Okay, stop the live